can't believe, literally, I'm going to be interviewing the fastest 60-meter hurdler in the world right now. I should be spazzing, right? But clearly we know each other. But what have you been doing since you got home?
Honestly, sleeping. My body's still on like China time.
Boy, listen, I know this outdoor season's going to be something else, and I can't wait to talk about it. But that's not all we're going to talk about. I definitely want to talk about growing up Bahamian. I want to talk about Purdue. I want to talk about the tea on the track.
Plenty of that.
Right? Well, let's get into it. I can't wait.
Said I got big dreams, they're all about to come true. Chilling at the top with a nice view. It's a good life right now. It's a good life right now. Good life, it's a good life. Good life, it's a good life.
I'm so excited about this show, not only because I get to interview one of the fastest women in the world, but she happens to be Bahamian. She happens to be someone that I know. And I think that she's one of the dopest people that ever came out of the island of New Providence. And not to mention, she is one of 6 women to run sub 780 in the indoor 60-meter hurdles. So I am Latoya Moxie, Moxie, and this is Devynne Charlton.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So much to talk about. So much to talk about. I really wanted to have a conversation with you for multiple reasons. Not too long ago, 2024 to be exact. We're gonna start with all things track and field. If you didn't know, of course you know, I am a trackie, I'm a track enthusiast, and so I always keep up with what's current, what's trending, all the tea, everything. But I wanna talk about the most recent thing that I've paid attention to, the most recent thing before we get into your indoor season. You're a 2-time world indoor champion. How does it feel to be a 2-time world indoor champion in the 60-meter hurdles?
Yeah, it's crazy because when I look back a couple years ago, I didn't envision myself doing that sort of thing. But you know, as I climbed up the ladder and in the ranks and things, I started to think like I could be a whole lot better. And then I got to the point where I'm just like, no, I think I'm the best to ever step foot on this line. And now that it's showing, it's really a crazy feeling, honestly.
I know last year, before you broke the world indoor record, like first of all, that part, I'm still stunned. It's like you keep increasing the measuring stick. You keep taking it up a notch, and which obviously means that you feel like you're more than capable of constantly going up and up and up and up and up. And I was in front of my television watching it. And of course, I'm always going to be 242 to the world. So I know my neighbors were like, what the hell is going on over there? But you lined up and I was like, oh, the Bahamas. Just super excited for no reason. Well, just because we see our colors, we see our area codes, and then we see people that we actually like. That's always the extra caveat, right? But I saw you on the line and you're lined up with 7 other amazing people. And what stood out to me that day was the fact that you all are competitors, but at the end of the race, you all cheered for each other. Is that how it normally is for hurdles?
Yeah, I would say so, because the way I see it is that they're the only other people on earth who know exactly what I go through and what I have to do to get to where I am. And so it's like, of course we're competitive, of course we want to win the race and beat each other, but at the end of it, it's like, it's work, it's a job, and you're happy to see other people. You want to see the event progress, and so when somebody else does well, of course, it's like a bittersweet thing, because it's like, dang, I wish I had done better, I wish I ran faster, but at the same time, I'm just like, I see this person grinding and working, and you know what it means to win a race, and so you're just happy for people.
But I know there's this healthy rivalry that you guys have, right? But do you ever line up and be like, I'm gonna get this bitch. Like, I'm about to slaughter her. Like, she thought, people talking about her, she's supposed to be the best, she's supposed to be this, she's supposed to be that. We can call some names in a minute. But I mean, do you ever line up and be like, it ain't your day, it's my day?
I mean, I have that feeling about everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like just one person in particular where I'm just like, all right, I just need to make sure this girl behind me.
Yeah.
It's like that for everybody where I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm the best on this line, and I don't care who comes second, third, whatever,
Yeah.
as long as I win, it's fine. But I mean, I think that's just the mindset you have to have coming into it. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a healthy rivalry, but there's definitely some ones that it's kind of like beef for real.
Yeah. Oh, for real? So there is beef in hurdles.
Absolutely.
Oh,
No. I mean, nothing, nothing that I'm involved in. I'm just like, I'm cool with everybody, but it's definitely some ones where it's just like, ooh, they don't like each other.
Yeah, your parents raised you right. You're definitely the most politically correct, demure, mannerly person, at least at face value. We don't know what happens when you guys are in the green room or sitting next to each other, saying whatever y'all saying through y'all head in each other's heads. But I think when I saw that particular race, prior to that one, I kept thinking the person to beat last year was Tia Jones before her injury, right? And then she bowed out. But I will be honest, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so tough because she kept literally besting herself. She kept literally just going sub this, sub that, like just taking up the measuring stick. And it's not to say that I was doubtful. I literally was on the edge of my seat because hurdles have become this event where it could be anybody's day, you know what I mean? But she was the one that was dominating last year. And then fast forward to her not being a factor anymore last year. And then you moving into the Olympics. Again, on the other side of the world. We're gonna get to that in a minute, like why they always taking us at the ends of the world just to watch you guys compete. But when you got to the Olympics, so what was your feeling? I know things people don't know, but just for anyone that's listening or watching, I know that you were going through some issues, some angst moments, but what I do remember seeing, for what I do know, you pushed through like a G, like nobody would have known. Yeah. So what was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah, so about a month out before the Olympics, I strained my hamstring in practice. It was like regular hurdle workout. It was the last rep, and on one of the hurdles, I went to take it with my lead leg, and I just felt something like the sharp pain in my hamstring. And so it didn't feel super serious at the time. I got seen by our athletic trainers, and they worked on me, and they're just like, it's not looking super serious, but eventually I was able to like sprint, pull sleds and things, but I couldn't hurdle. And so it got to the point where I'm just like, I asked my coach, I'm just like, what if I just don't hurdle until we get to Paris? Because that's what's irritating, and I could do everything else, everything in the weight room. And he was just like, yeah, no, if we do that, you risk being like too sore to compete after the first round. And so he's just like, we're just gonna start off with some low hurdles because I couldn't lift my lead leg. So it's just like, we're gonna start off like really, really low. So we had like these junior height hurdles where started off at like 20 inches. He puts one on the track and he's just like, take this hurdle. I did it. He's just like, okay, 22 inches, do it again. 24, 20, and just all the way up until we got to 30 inches, which is the junior women's height. And that's about where I stopped. And then he's just like, but with modification to my technique, because I couldn't like splay my lead leg out as much as I usually do, is more bent. And so it wasn't a very efficient technique, it wasn't a fast technique, but it was what we had to do just to get reps in. And so I hurdled like that for a month. Wow. It wasn't until maybe a day or two before I took the track in Paris where I was able to like fully run the way I normally would. Yeah. And so, yeah, I went into that with almost zero hurdle practice, zero race modeling. But, you know, I had a sports psych and my coach, and they just kept telling me, you know, you have to do the mental reps. I couldn't do the physical practice, so they were just like, you just have to sit down and like just go through the race mentally. And so it was just mental reps that got me to that point. Because once I got on the line, it's muscle memory from there.
I mean, I'm glad that you bring up like how mental this sport is before we even get to the finals itself. People underestimate how much mental capacity you have to come with, not only just the challenges of not hitting the hurdle every time you go over it, but just preparing to like get out the blocks and not hit that first hurdle and keep the mind, like it's literally, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, it is more so like 80% mental and 20% skill. Like if you hit a hurdle, just where your mind is at, that could kill the whole race. If you hit a hurdle, you're like, well, this stinking hurdle, the next one, you conquer it. Like, what is that experience like for you? Like when you get to the place where you're like, you know, I'm already injured, I'm working with a lot of other challenges that nobody knows about, and now I'm in the finals. Like, what is the mental preparation for that?
Yeah, so just mentally, I kind of had to tell myself like, because I was wanting to fall into that place of like, what was me, and like, this is terrible, how could this happen? But I had to kind of tell myself like, you're not special. Everybody on that line is dealing with something. and this is just what you have to go through. This is your journey. So I had to own that and just make sure it wasn't affecting me more than it needed to. So I'm just like, I'm already like at a deficit physically. I don't need to be there mentally as well. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of visualization, a lot of affirmations, like just telling myself, like, I knew the kind of shape I was in going into it. And I'm like, to me, all season long, I'm just like, I'm the person to beat. And that's me at 100%. At 90%, I still feel as if I'm better than everybody else on the line. And so that's what I told myself. I'm just like, I'm going to get to that final and let the chips fall.
Your training partner, she ended up taking gold. And you guys, I'm always fascinated when I see like so much medals and metal in the room. And I can only imagine like going back to the drawing board after you coming off of winning your indoor gold and then she comes off of winning her Olympic gold. What is the average day back into training after the off season? It's like, who's puffing their chest the loudest? Like, what is a typical day when you have Masai, Russell, and Devynne Charlton on the track together?
I mean, it's not really like that. I think both of us kind of know what the other person is capable of, but like we're also grateful for it. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that we're both doing so well at the same time. I think we push each other and to get to that space. And so, practice is more so us versus the workout or us versus Coach Green.
Okay.
It's less, we race and compete in practice when it's time for it, but most of the time it's just like both of us are kind of just like, we don't want to do this today, but like, let's get through it. And so we kind of have this thing too, if we're doing like intervals, because we're on the indoor track, so it's like cramped and stuff. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, I'll take this first rep, and then we switch out, and then she takes the second rep. And so we kind of rabbit each other through the workout. And so it's less like racing, because that's mentally.
So y'all don't have days where you're like, yeah, no, you ain't beating me today.
I mean, when we're doing like hurdle reps and stuff like that, it's like we're competing, because that's the whole point, race model. You want to kind of mimic what race conditions will be like. And so like in that way, yeah, most of the time let's just get through this.
Not bad. I'm glad you brought up your coach, because a lot of people don't know. And this is what is so fascinating about the story. This is what I love the most about the story. You actually have a Bahamian coach. So to be able to have this Bahamian duo that's just popping out and showing people, like Kendrick Lamar, y'all are all about the place, literally just popping out and showing people. And you coming out on top. Like, how did you even get hooked up with Coach Green?
So I met him when I was in high school. He recruited me. It was his first year on the job as head coach at Purdue. And so he was recruiting me to Purdue. Met him. He also had his assistant coach, Norbert Elliott, went to high school with my mom. So in college I had
another Bahamian.
In college I had 2 Bahamian coaches.
Which is rare.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, if I'm gonna be all the way in Indiana, West Lafayette, Indiana, I need to be coming there for a reason. And it just felt like family. And so that was the reason why I made the decision to go with Coach Green and Coach Elliott up there.
Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, he should be getting his flowers. I think a lot of people, they don't understand that this whole process, this collegiate, from high school to collegiate to elite track and field, is a process. And to be able to be connected with someone who you actually have interests, similar backgrounds, coming from the same place, like to find that synergy is, I mean, I think it's a blessing. But what they don't understand too is there are a lot of dope Bahamian coaches. Yeah. And they're in NCAA Division 1, 2 schools. They're in D1, 2 schools, but they are literally helping put us on the map. Yeah. And I don't think they get their flowers. So Coach Green, I think you're doing an awesome job. Keep it up. Please make sure Masai gets second next time. We want to keep the 242 at the top. No, I mean, I think it's all love. Masai, she looks like she's a beautiful soul, and I think anybody that sits on the podium is well deserving. But I think it's so dope just to see when Bahamians connect, and then we have this camaraderie. Now, fast forward to the beginning of this year, 2025, coming off of an injury or coming off of recovery, or constantly recovering, what was your real expectation for not just World Indoors, but just your indoor season in general? Like, what was your thought process? What was your expectation? I
kind of had the realization at the end of last indoor, I'm just like, I could have gone faster. I first had that realization when the record was at 768 before I broke it for the first time. And I'm just like, that's kind of a weak record. I feel like I could take it.
Did she just say it was a week record?
Because I think it was like 16 years old by the time I broke it, and for like the women's short hurdles event, like this, I'm just like, why hasn't somebody broken this record yet for as fast as we're running and as competitive as the event is?
Yeah.
And so I did the math, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I feel like I could take it down. And by the end of the season, I'm just like, I feel like I could have run like maybe half a tenth faster. And so the goal coming into this season, I'm just like, I want to be the first person to run 7.5 seconds. And my coach was just like, yeah, let's do it. The problem was that for me, at the end of last season, I had to end a little bit early because I broke my foot in my first race back from Paris. And so
You was just catching all kinds of stray bullets.
not even half of it. But over the summer, I was just like doing rehab for my foot. And then I took like 10 weeks off from training, which the standard is usually about like 6. That's what we do, 5 to 6 weeks off. Yeah. And so when I came back from 10 weeks, I was super detrained. So fall training was awful for me. Like it's already bad enough, but now I'm at like a 4-week deficit compared to, so I think Masai took 6 weeks off, which is the usual. And so where she was physically to where I was playing catch up the entire fall training. And so going into the season, like that kind of showed. And so I think that's why it started off as rough as it did. But I started like coming into my own, and then I went to France for meet, and I just think the travel didn't agree with my body. And I ran the first round.
What was the time? What's the time difference between Kentucky and Paris, and then the travel time?
Yeah, it's a 6-hour time difference, and travel, not too bad, I don't think. Maybe like 15 hours or so.
Oh, she says 15 hours is not too bad. This is clearly someone that's always on the plane.
Listen, when you have like 20-hour and 30-hour travel days, 15 is not bad. No.
It's child's play.
And so, so I was feeling a little stiff off of the plane, and I, like in hindsight, of course, I kind of wish I listened to my body a little bit more, but I competed, ran the first round, and I felt my hamstring go. It wasn't the same one from last year. It was my trail leg this time, but I'm just like, okay, that's not good. And my agent was there with me, Henry, and so I go over to him, and I'm just like, yeah, I think we need to call it. He's just like, okay. And we headed back to Kentucky and started the rehab process all over again. But the good thing was that I had 5 weeks from that mishap to the start of World Indoors. And so that's why I wasn't.
That's a short time.
Not really. I'm thinking that's all kind of time.
Really? Yeah. I'm thinking I'm gonna need like 3 months to recover.
It was maybe like a grade 1 strain, which isn't like super serious, but
This is your world, so you know.
yeah. And so I'm just like, listen, if I get even like 90% of the way there in terms of being healthy, I'm gonna run in China, because I'm just like, I have a title to defend.
That's a good segue into the fact that like the pressures that you have to experience. You're coming off of this injury, you're recovering. You have, I mean, Masai didn't do indoor.
She decided not to run at World Indoors.
So that's one less person to think of. But then when you have one less person, you got like 10 other, like, I mean, let's just pause for a second and talk about how the hell did it get so stacked? I mean, it was always kind of like, it was always a competitive event. But I feel like over the last 2, 3, 4 years, it's like hurdlers came out of nowhere. They're coming out of everywhere.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I'm trying to think like when that one year where it was just like, okay, this event is really like popping off. And I'd say like around 2022, I would say.
So post-COVID.
Yeah, and that was the year Toby broke the world record. And so I think that was a moment where everybody collectively was just like, oh shit, we gotta like step this up.
Yes. And y'all going faster and faster. And I was like, how faster can they go? Where your whole field is running sub 8, sub 7. I'm like, what in the?
Yeah. And cause it's just like, once you see where the standard is, you go back and you're just like, okay, we have to figure something else out. Like, cause I'm just like, it's either keep up or what, I gotta quit. And so I'm just like, no, we need to start doing something.
A lot of people, I was paying attention to social media. You're getting ready to defend your title. You're not 100%, but you're getting there, right? Your mind's probably there, but your body's saying, ease up. Like, we still got a ways to go, but we can do this. And then you stand you stand up in the blocks and you line up with the likes of people like Akira Nugent. And I see all over social media, everybody's like, Akira, you know, Jamaicans gonna show up. Oh my goodness, they're gonna show up. And you're just seeing Akira. And I saw something on World Athletics where they asked, who do you think's gonna take it? And everybody was like pointing in her direction. And then you have Kambunji's younger sister who's also lined up. And I never doubted. I never once doubted. I was like, first of all, this girl has to defend her title. She coming guns blazing. If she have to break her toes.
And like that was my attitude, because I'm just like, listen, if I show up to that line and by the end of it, if my hamstring like hanging by a thread, so be it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, we hope
I'm
not,
running.
but
Well, I mean, yeah, that's worst case scenario. But I'm just if that's what it takes to cross that line first, so that's what it is.
You're gonna be dangling, like you're gonna have to do the dive or whatever it took, right? And there was something that happened, and I thought it was bittersweet, and it had a little bit of resilience towards it with Akira. Where she hit the hurdle. I've never seen anything like that happen before, where the hurdle literally just, I was like, I don't even know what happened.
She was in the semifinal before me. And so I didn't see the race itself. I just saw when they took the hurdle off of the track and like replaced it with the unbroken hurdle. And so I'm just like, ooh, wonder what happened there. But you don't have time to like really think about all that. And so
it looked like she karate chopped the hurdle off.
And so it wasn't until we were done with the final and we got in the back getting ready for medal ceremony, and she was talking about it. And I'm on my phone now, because this is my first time getting on my phone since. And so I'm scrolling, I see World Athletics posts, and like they just have like a slideshow of it. And so I'm just like,
this progression, and the hurdle just went.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, girl, what did you do? And like I don't think she had seen it either. So I'm just like, no, look at this. Like, you don't think this is crazy?
Yeah, I've never seen that in my life.
You still run 8.0. You don't think that's insane? Yeah. She's just like, no. I'm just like, to stay on your feet is crazy. To run 8.0, to make the final.
And to not lose teeth in the process. I was like, that's...
Because I think she had hit maybe like the second or third hurdle, and then the fourth. She broke 2 hurdles. I think she broke like the third hurdle, hit the fourth, and then completely like knocked the crossbar off the last hurdle.
Literally severed it.
And then it like got caught up in her feet, and then she flung it into somebody else's lane. It was insane, and I'm like
she
you need
definitely protected.
Yeah, I'm like, frame this, please.
I was like, one or two things need to happen. She either need to go to church and pray, or she did. Because the way that progressed, I was like, how in the world this girl ain't walking away in a wheelchair? Well, not walking away, but rolling off in a wheelchair. I thought that was definitely the photo of the day, or visual of the day.
Some crazy crash outs in the hurdles.
Yeah, that's was
top 2.
Top 2. I like that, top 2. But because a lot of people kept talking about that, did you feel like do you feel like at all that it was overshadowed, like your win?
No, because I think people have come to appreciate what the women's hurdle is and how hard it is to not only like podium, but to win back to back. And so I think that was kind of the narrative, and also because like nobody expected me to. Like I don't think I was even in the medal conversation, let alone to like win it. And so
really?
I don't
as the reigning champion?
I mean, based on the season I was having, I don't blame people.
No, I do blame people. Never sleep on this chick, okay? She has, listen, ever, or if you sleep on her, she coming to tuck you in. That's for sure. I've seen it. Don't play. If you ever, actually, you know what? Do bet against her, because when you do, that's when she shows up.
Somebody had posted something that I came across and was just like, oh, Devynne saved my parlay, or something like that. So I screenshot and I sent it to my sisters, and I'm like, listen, we could have been up.
Right?
Y'all should have bet on me.
Listen, don't get us started. We have a lot of opportunity to make those bets happen in this country. But I think what you were able to do, and being in a field of 8 women that, I mean, are just literally the fastest women in the world, coming into an outdoor season where you have even more to prove. You're jumping from 60-meter hurdles to 100-meter hurdles. So it's a longer distance. Your race pattern and race dynamic will change a little bit because of the distance. Like, what are you looking forward to in this outdoor season? That's my first question. And I know you're going to say something cliche like I'm my own competitor, but who would you say, like, who are you looking to race against in outdoor season?
As in, like, who I want to, or like who I think is like a rival?
Both. Who would you want to race that you haven't raced a lot against, and who would you say in the thick of the outdoor season, because you know this season's going to be real long before World Championships in September. Who would you say, like in the thick of it, around late July, early August, you could envision as the one to watch against you?
I won't say that I'm my own competitor, because I definitely do think in some events you can like pick out a person and say like, I'm a gun for this person.
I mean, like 5.
But there's nobody, there's no like one person where you'd be like, okay, like you cannot predict that this far out. You can't even predict it like the day before the race, honestly. That's just the women's hurdles, but I'm excited I just want everybody healthy and like in their best shape, because I feel like that's when the most change and like the best races and the fastest times happen.
And what I like about you guys' field is the fact that it's so diverse. Yeah. It's so diverse.
Because you have like the height thing, you have the build. Exactly. It's no like stereotypical
You're
look.
thinking, it's similar to how Usain versus Coleman was in the 100 meter. It's like at one point in time you think certain races have like a physique of a person, the height, the build, whatever of a person that you could say, okay, yeah, this dude's a beast. He's gonna do X, Y, Z. And then you come to the hurdles, you're like, wait, what? Jasmine looks like she's 5'10". Then
Probably.
You have
like Megan, who's like, Megan might be
Megan's
5 foot.
Megan's like, she can fit your pocket. Like, you guys are all over the place. So it's like, there's no rhyme or reason to your speed, to your agility, like nothing. That's what makes me think it's more mind over matter. Because it's like, you guys are not, there's no prototype per se, everybody.
Because it's just like so many different like areas and skill sets that's going on within the hurdles that it's like different body types cater to that. So I feel like me being a little bit on the shorter side and coming from like a sprinter background, I have a good start. My technique's okay. It could definitely be better. I don't think I'm like the most technical person over the hurdles, but my foot speed in between the hurdles really works for me. And because I'm not one of the taller athletes, I actually get to like stretch my stride and run. Whereas if I was taller, I'd have to like chop my steps a lot more. But if you're taller, you can get down off the hurdle a lot faster because your parabola is different. And so it's just, it's different skill sets, and I think everybody's body is like suited to something different, but it makes it interesting.
Promotional consideration provided by Bahamas, the brand of the Bahamas, offering Bahamian luxury, and Bar Paul, a golden resort and residence bar. What would you say is your most Bahamian thing? Like your most Bahamian either ick about you or like the thing that makes you the most Bahamian?
I refuse to enter any body of water if I can't see my feet.
That's a good one.
Like, cause like, you know,
I never thought about that
like
one.
Americans be like, "Oh, we going to the lake, we about to do this," and I'm like, I can't. No. Be like, "Let's go to the beach." That's not a beach.
You know what? No. We spoiled. You have to, but no, Bahamians though. Bahamians are spoiled because there are islands in the Caribbean where you can't see the bottom of their feet either.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, people can't appreciate it, and then I show them like stuff from like the harbor in Exuma.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is literally where boats dock, and you think this a pool. And so like now you understand why I can't get in that water.
I agree with that one. Like the murkiness it's the unknown. You don't know if you're getting yucked to the bottom of the ocean. Like you wonder like what is like you wonder if the Loch Ness monster coming to get you, if there's some shark that is blind that coming to eat you. Like you don't know.
Cause like I'm not afraid of the sharks and the stingrays and the fish, but like I could see them coming.
Yeah.
And so it's
not
different
in murky
if
waters.
no.
And not only that, it's like how do you put your head under the water and you can't see? Related to that, mine would be I can't go in any body of water without water shoes, especially if I can't see.
Well, because you don't like the seaweed.
I don't want to touch seaweed. You know, we have some oceans that merge with mangrove, so it's like muddy.
Yeah, and then there's like the little things sticking up. Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do it. I gotta have on the little water shoes, the swim shoes. I gotta do that.
And then like some beaches just rocky too.
I can't. I won't make it. But clearly, to our point, we were having a conversation earlier about bougie versus ghetto. And you seem to think you're not on the bougie side.
I think in general, no. I think there's bougie things about me, but I don't think.
What are they? You cannot see the word ghetto and put Devynne on the side of it. That just don't know. Okay,
so like, I don't think I fall to that side of the spectrum. Because like I wasn't like on the streets when I was younger. I was a little sheltered.
I like how she said I wasn't on the street.
My little sister, my little sister was on the streets, not me.
Oh my gosh.
Because by
don't come back.
By the time I was out the house, my parents, they was a little bit softer. They wasn't checking. They was a little older. So
Yeah.
my sister, she was running around doing her rat stuff. But I, not so much.
I hope you know that by the time your siblings watch this,
Oh, no, it's fine. They know.
you grew up with, you're sandwiched between two girls, right? So you were the consummate middle child, and in my family, I mean, I have a large family, but I am, out of my mom's 3 kids, I'm the middle child. And I feel like middle children always get it the hardest because the oldest one, they're the first. So they get the first of everything. They get, oh, this is my baby. They get loved on in a different kind of way. And then the baby is spoiled because it's the baby. The middle one, you getting hand-me-downs, you getting directed to do certain things. You literally got to fend for yourself. You feel like a soldier.
Raising the baby.
You feel like a soldier. You're literally like, I'm the middle. So how is life like that growing up as a middle child and in between 2 sisters?
I mean, the good thing is that me and my sisters were so different that we each had our own lane, kind of. And then my youngest, so me and my oldest sister, we about like 4 years apart, almost. And then my youngest sister, like 7 or 8 years. And so it was a good amount of like space between us. So we all had our like different stuff growing up. But being a middle child, I think my parents tried to be fair in a lot of ways, but like sometimes they would forget. And so they would be like if they brought home 2 or something, like this when, before my young sister was born, they bring home 2 or something, whatever it was. And they'll be like, okay, Lauren, you the oldest, you get to pick first. And so then she got to do whatever. Then when it came to like me and my younger sister, they're just like, okay, Tay, you the baby, you get to pick first. And I'm just like, that's not how
Like,
it
wait,
was.
what?
And so it's just like they were trying to be.
When does the middle child get to pick
And
first?
so they were trying to be fair, but they forgot the rules that they established. And then now they're trying to apply it like as we're adults. And so like my older sister, I think they paid for like half of her first car. And so whatever like price that was, they was just like, okay, then we'll give you that much towards your car because that's what we paid for your system. And it was like, okay, cool. Then my little sister comes around.
And they just bought the car.
They did, but it was because they were trying not to at first. It was just like, no, we didn't do that for your sisters. And both of us, we were just like, we grown, we have jobs. Like, we don't care what y'all do anymore. Like, buy her a car. And so it's just like, still trying to be fair, but at the same time, I'm just like, we not little kids anymore. Like, get her a car.
You think your parents have a favorite?
I know so, yeah.
Yeah.
They deny it, of course, as
Well,
they should.
most parents would. Deion Sanders, not so much.
But I think he says that it's like it's a scale and like it changes.
Yeah, it changes based on what they're doing.
Yeah. And so how we base it is whoever is the profile picture on WhatsApp. And I think it's me right now.
No way.
Yeah.
But no. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So whoever, she said it's me right now. So whoever the kid is, that's the profile photo, is the favorite.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
That's how we decide.
That is hilarious.
And so like we have a little competition, and so like when the profile changes, like we'll get in the group chat and we'll be like,
Oh, okay.
good game.
It's her day. I mean, considering the fact that now you have this thing where you're doing amazing things, and then Anthea's doing amazing things. I mean, she's still in the collegiate level, but she's clearly a force to be reckoned with. Nobody ever really saw that coming. Like, people who didn't know, don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that knew, right? Because you came from a family that's just fully engaged and engulfed in track and field. So if you know, you know. But people who didn't know, when they saw Anthea, at one point she had the world lead. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but
I believe she's second now.
she had the world lead. Like, I know you probably like, yay, now there's 2 of us. You know, they're gonna know these Charltons if that's the last thing we do. But what do you think would happen if she was to like literally supersede all of your accolades? Do you think your parents would be like, this is officially the baby?
The problem with Anthea, and this is where we're different.
Oh Lord, the problem with Anthea.
I'll be nice. She stresses them out more.
Oh Lord.
And so I think
Anthea, I don't think this is the part you want to watch.
the good thing is that we talk like this to each other, so we know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything I haven't said to my sister already, so it's fine.
Okay.
This is news for everybody else.
So you say.
But yeah, no. So I think she keeps them on their toes more, and so she's the one who like gets into things a little bit more. But I mean, as far as my older sister, she's more of like the academic. She has a PhD and all that, and so she was on the academic side. I was definitely more on the athletic side. Our little sister is the best and worst of both of us.
So she has middle child's like qualities.
She's more talented than I am when it comes to track. I think she's more intelligent than our older sister could. Like, she just doesn't apply herself in the same ways. Like, the same way my sister applied herself in school,
And
the way
get
I
a
do it on the
PhD,
track.
that's a big deal.
Yeah. And so it's so frustrating because we were actually roommates in Nanjing. And so I'm trying to, of course, I have my routine and everything. And so I'm just like, okay, this is how I eat. I have my instructions for my nutritionist. I'm going to go into the dining hall. I'm going to eat like this. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to do all these things. And so I'm trying to get her on my routine because I'm just like, we had the world champs. Like, and she's just like, no, I eat a whole pizza to myself the night before I compete. And she's just like, no, I just vibe.
What's the age difference between you two?
8 years. So she's 21.
Yeah, so she's at the age where, number one, their metabolism is faster than lightning, and two, they feel like they have no care in the world. I will eat a whole pizza and I'm still gonna jump insane distances.
Yeah, and it's at the point now where she feels like that's why she competes well.
Oh, she has the Chad Ochocinco syndrome.
Yeah, and so I'm just
you
like-
eat McDonald's and you still win.
But she thinks that's the reason, and I'm just like, no, you're not winning because you ate the pizza. You're winning in spite of it. Like, do you understand that, right? But no.
Well, then it's also possibly your genetics. Let's be real about this. I mean, I'm not sure if your mom was an athlete at one point, but I know like your dad has been a coach and you guys are in that world. Do you think that there's a genetic aspect to this? Like how you guys...
I think her and my older sister, so I'm 5'3". They're 5'6", 5'7", both of them. And so they kind of have my daddy's genetics on that side. Physically, I'm my mother's child.
Yeah.
And so I think like athletics came a lot more easier to them. My older sister, she just started late.
Yeah.
And so eventually she like quit track because she just wanted to focus on school. And so like they take after my daddy in that aspect, but I'm more like my mommy. And so I had to work.
I can see that.
Not that my mommy's not athletic. She's,
No, but just attitude-wise.
yeah,
Yeah.
like she wasn't the athlete of the family. And so I just feel like things came a lot more easier to my little sister, and like where I was a late bloomer.
Okay. I could definitely see that. I think the way I remember your parents being, I mean, they're always very much actively involved, but they stuck to their niche. They both knew, like your mom has been in that pharmaceutical world, you know, for a long time, and your dad is more so the creative, athletic type. And I could see it, I could see sandwiched with you, but definitely, like I feel like you have the best of both worlds there. And your other siblings, like one went hard to your mom's side. I mean, she has a PhD, let's be real. Let's be real about it. And then your youngest sister's more the renegade, taking after the dad. Like more casual, laid back, like I'm not gonna be so bounded by rules. I mean, I will comply, but it's not the end of the day.
That's what's weird. I feel like my daddy is more of like the
More rule-oriented?
Yeah, versus my mommy.
You don't think it depends on what it is, though?
It definitely does.
It depends on
I
what
would
it
say like
is.
in general he is, but
But
at
certain
some,
things
at some points
he'll
I'm
push
just
the
like,
envelope.
oh, absolutely.
He'll push the
Yeah.
envelope. But what was it like growing up Bahamian? Like, I know we have in the Bahamas public school life, private school life. Some people grow up Catholic, some people grow up Anglican. A lot of the times growing up, you'd be outside in the streets playing with your friends. Did you get whoopings? Or we don't call them whoopings in the Bahamas. We call it you get beaten. You get beaten. You used to get beaten?
According to my parents, no.
Really?
From what I
So you were the good kid of the three.
I mean, I was good, yeah. But I mean, it wasn't like they didn't beat us a ton. Maybe like a couple times, and like I can't even remember like what I did to like. So it probably wasn't anything crazy. But to them, they said like, oh no, we never got beat at all. Which I don't think that's the case. But growing up, it was like we came from like a really chill, laid back household. My parents were a little bit more on the strict side. Like I said, I was a little bit sheltered. But I think they were more so concerned with us getting our education. Sports was a big deal, extracurriculars, but they just wanted to make sure that we were happy, healthy, well taken care of, and that we were doing, something outside.
So everybody had to do a sport or activity or something.
And at some point we all played like an instrument. They just wanted to make sure
What
that we
did
were
you
like
play?
well-rounded. I went to piano lessons for a while.
Can you still play?
No. I mean, a couple things from like memory, but I mean, I didn't really take to it. My older sister took to it like a whole lot more, but they just wanted to make sure we were well-rounded.
Nice. I think a lot of people have this misconception that, especially from different cultures, that Caribbean people are isolated, that we're not exposed. And I always tell people, this is a running joke for me, the Bahamas is the 51st state. I don't know if we want to be that right now in this moment, but because of proximity, we are accustomed to adapting to a lot of the things that, Americans do. And so sometimes the transition in us going to college or university is not that difficult because, well, we code switch, number one. We have to learn how to speak proper English because people sometimes don't understand us when we speak Bahamianese. So having said that, do you code switch at all, or do you, yeah, so you think amongst your friends, and what's some of the words that you would say when you're with your family that people may not know?
It's not necessarily like well, I mean, of course, like any.
So like I'll throw out some, I guess, Queen's English vernacular, and then you tell me the Bahamianese words for the viewing audience or the listening audience. When an American says something like, it's drizzling outside, what would we say?
Oh, it's Brian.
It's right. If someone says, oh my God, what would a Bahamian say? Don't get your Bahamian card revoked now. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
Oh, Madasik.
So instead of saying, I want to wrap the foil around that bowl, what other word than foil?
Oh, furl.
Furl.
Aluminum furl.
Aluminum furl.
But yeah, so it's stuff like that. And then like how I say words too, because I think my pronunciation, so it's like I had to differentiate between pear, peer, and like,
yes.
Because I said something.
Even bear.
Yeah.
You, like drinking the bear or a bear outside. They were like, what?
So I was talking to my academic advisor and I was just like, oh yeah, we have, I think we call it like a peer review or something like that. And she was just like, a what? I was like, a peer review. She's like, mean peer? And I'm like, I feel like you knew what I was talking about, but okay. And then another time, somebody said something, and I was just like, oh, I met that thing though. I met it though. And it was just like, you what? I was like, I met it though. She was like, nice to meet you. And I'm like, no, like it was always there, and then I can't. And I'm like, y'all don't talk like that, but.
Yeah, that's always a thing I find with Bahamians. And people, they don't understand our subject-verb conjugations, like how we line things up. They feel like, hey, what? What are you saying? So I always get excited when I hear Bahamians speaking on the world stage. And you are by far, out of all of the athletes that I've seen on television that represent the Bahamas, you're by far one of the most articulate ones. You speak very clearly, you enunciate your words. And was that something that your family taught you? Were you always that way? I mean, like how do you guys speak at home?
Yes, I mean, I think we speak in like the broken Bahamian English.
So you speak Bahamianese at home?
Yeah, we do. But I think growing up, more so now because I think my parents like know that we're articulate and we know how to speak. But growing up, we'll say certain stuff like if you ask somebody, oh, how old you is, my mom would be like,
yeah, like you're not gonna say that.
Let's try that again.
How old you is?
Yeah, and so like I grew up like learning how to code switch and like just making sure that I was adapting my speech to wherever I was or whatever I was doing. And I just like carried it into college because I hate repeating myself. So a lot of the times I'm just like, I'm gonna say this as crisp and clear as I can the first time. And I think because of that, the more time I spend in the States, the more of my accent I lose over time. And it comes back once I get home and I start talking to other people.
Because they say things like, when Bahamians go to Florida, it literally takes us to land and we fitting to go somewhere. Or our accent already changed.
And I don't think my accent is, it completely goes. Like, and I don't think I pick up an American accent.
You just enunciate your words.
Yeah, and I think it just gets like really neutral. And so a lot of times I'll tell people like I'm from the Bahamas and they'll be like, oh, you don't sound like it. You don't have an accent. And that's a pet peeve of mine.
Do you don't look Bahamian as well?
Nah, I don't think so.
I've gotten that a couple of times.
I mean, because like, well, I mean, I was gonna say, what does a Bahamian look like? But we have
that part. That's always my answer. Like, what does a Bahamian look like?
You could tell.
I mean, yes and no. We could tell us.
Oh, yeah.
We could tell us. You go in the mall, anywhere, you be like, you do a double take. You be like, yeah, she from.
Because sometimes it would be like a random person. I don't know them at all, but I'm be like, I can't explain why, but like that person Bahamian.
Yeah. No, you feel it. You feel it. You see it. You know it. Because it's not like, let's say, Dominicans or I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I guess the Hispanic origin of those that are Dominican, you know, they have a certain look about them. Or like they'll say even Haitians have like high cheekbones, very distinct features. They have very high cheekbones, and
I think like Caribbean people in general too, because I can't always tell where someone's from.
I feel like I can.
Because you could tell a Jamaican, you could tell a Trini,
How?
or like somebody just
How
generally.
can you tell a Jamaican though?
I promise you I can't explain it, but like I just know.
You know what? You know what it is too? It's not even about features, facial features. It's also about the aesthetic too.
Oh no, I wasn't even talking
Like the
about
way they dress.
facial features. I'm
No,
I'm
because
talking
I'm thinking
purely
like
aesthetic.
bone structures.
Oh.
Like back in the day when I was growing up, they would say you could always tell the difference between the Bahamian and Haitian because Haitian always had a high, like their bone structure, higher cheekbones. Like that's just a part of their, you know, skeletal makeup. But I could always tell by the way they're dressed. That's how I know. Like you could tell the way a Haitian is dressed, you'd be like, that's a Haitian. You could always tell the way a Jamaican, you just know. You just know. We know each other. We know our people. You know, as a Caribbean culture, as the diaspora, we just know.
Because I grew up around Jamaicans, Trinis, Guyanese, because like most of my teachers
And then
were
when
foreign.
they talk.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm saying like looking at somebody across the room before they even speak. I'm just like, that's my people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, cause just like and I feel like it's not as much of a melting pot, but I do feel like we have a lot of different cultures represented in the Bahamas, and I've been taught by a lot of people from the Caribbean diaspora. So yeah, it's just like I just know.
So this podcast was really about tapping into who we consider rare ones, and you're definitely one of those people that I feel like is a rare one. You make up the 1% of the Caribbean diaspora that is just doing amazing things. Like you won't be like, you can't find 10 other people saying, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna run a sub 780 or a sub 1230. Like that's not normal behavior. You're definitely in that 1%. If there's one thing you could tell yourself, your 15-year-old self, from knowing what you know now, being who you are now, what would you tell your 15-year-old self?
I think I would tell myself to like just try harder.
Try harder?
Yeah, because I feel like it took me a while to really appreciate like the talent that I had. I think I was more so just happy to be involved or happy to, you know, compete. I'm just having a good time. I'm going to practice. I'm seeing my friends. Maybe I might get a scholarship. But I feel like every step of the way I could have been doing more. But it always took me having to see, and that's why I kind of like take this position I'm in so seriously, because it always took me seeing somebody else accomplish something for me to be like, I could probably do that too. And so I feel like if I had been I'm happy for where I am in my journey. I think it was mine, and so I have no regrets. But you know, if there was just like one area, I'm just like, I could have done more. I feel like
one word to describe yourself in this moment.
Grateful.
I like that. There's so much more that we could get into, but I feel like we've tapped into the conversation about who Devynne is, and I think, I don't know about the audience, but for me, I've gotten a brand new appreciation for everything that you've accomplished, everything you've done, and I think it's a great note to end on saying grateful, because I think a lot of times we do not understand what that means. We only start to see the light at the end of the tunnel and going through good things in order to be grateful. And you've been in that position where you've actually had to teeter on, where am I now? How am I going to overcome certain things? And even despite all of the challenges you've had within the last year with injury and recovery, you're so grateful. I think that is something that is phenomenal. And I think as a Bahamian, as a female, as a world-class athlete, you're definitely leaving your mark. So if there's one last thing you can tell anyone who feel like they have the potential but don't know how to get there, just let them know. In order to become a rare one, what would that be? That one thing you could tell them, that advice?
I would say seek out the help of others, like seek out a support system. One of the biggest things for me was having to sit down and I'm just like, I don't know everything. And just really humble myself, and like if I needed help with something, I'm just like, there's probably someone who's been through this who can help me with it. And so I would just say build your support system and lean on those people to point you in the right direction.
Well, there you have it. Being grateful and leaning on people that can be your support system. That is, I mean, there's no better way to end being a rare one. I'm glad to have someone like Devynne Charlton joining me on the row. And I can't wait for us to continue having another conversation. All right. So, you know, I ain't gonna clap, no dap, no. That's it.